When I left school at 18, I hadn't a clue about money. At that age, money-wise, all I was concerned about was having enough in the bank to pay for nights out, takeaways, and holidays. I was in college, and that's what everyone else was doing. Money wasn't something we ever really talked about. We never questioned whether or not we were being sensible. And to be honest, we didn't need to. We were 18, and that's what people at that age do. Who has time to be sensible when they're young? Besides, we were never told differently in school, and we didn't have any money role models to show us the way. We were on our own. In the near 10 years since then, I've come to learn a thing or two about money. I've made some mistakes and I've made some good decisions, but I've also gained a much deeper understanding of how money works. And if I was able to give 5 money lessons to my 18-year-old self, here's what they'd be. Lesson number 1, you need to accept that everyone around you is doing it wrong. I'm not just talking about your friends, your parents, your teachers, your co-workers. There are very few people who actually understand from start to finish how to be good with money. Society is mostly filled with people who are making bad money decisions, and because they represent the vast majority, you yourself will very likely copy those decisions if you're not careful. It's only logical for you to believe that if everyone around you is doing the same thing, then surely that must be the right thing to do. The problem is that many of these bad money decisions are treated as societal norms. They're not seen as bad money decisions, but rather accepted behaviors. So when you go to do things differently, you'll need to be mentally prepared for everyone around you to react as if you are the one who is doing it wrong, because you're going against what society believes is the right thing to do. That includes your peers, your parents, your teachers, and your co-workers. Lesson number 2, every money decision comes with a trade-off, and understanding the trade-offs of your decisions is what will allow you to become good with money. There's the obvious trade-offs, which for the most part are common sense. You can spend money on nights out, takeaways, and holidays, with the trade-off being that you'll have very little left over for anything else. You can borrow money when you don't have what you need to get what you want, but the trade-off is that you'll have to repay what you borrowed and then some. But it's the not so obvious trade-offs that are the most important. You can choose to make easy money through employment. The trade-off is that the money you earn from a job is nearly always taxed the most. You can put off becoming financially educated in favor of doing virtually anything else. The trade-off is that you'll likely never become financially independent. You can neglect preparing for the future in favor of the present. The trade-off being the quality of life that you'll have in the future. All of this comes down to understanding that money is just a game, and like all games, it has rules. Those who understand the rules will win the game. Those who don't, won't. Lesson number 3, it's entirely possible to be sensible with your money and still have a good time. I will be the first person to tell you that you should go on the nights out, do all of the traveling, and experience new things. However, as someone who has done all of that, and as someone who has on many occasions spent more money than he should have, I can tell you that there's a difference between spending money on experiences and unnecessary spending. How do you avoid unnecessary spending? You think. You will avoid wasting so much of your money by simply thinking about what you're doing. In the case of traveling, have a plan. Shop around for the cheapest accommodation and book everything in advance. For nights out, avoid expensive bars and clubs that are probably no crack anyway. Don't spend money on an overpriced burger and chips that you're just going to regret in the morning, and get public transport instead of taxis. This is all very obvious stuff, but I'm telling you, people are terrible at it, and over many years it adds up to a large amount of money wasted. It can all be avoided by taking a step back and asking yourself, do I really need to spend money on this? And if yes, is this the best price that I could be getting, all things considered? Lesson number 4, don't keep all of your money in the bank. Bank accounts are bad news for your money, and there's one very simple explanation as to why that is: inflation. You need to understand that over time, the things that we buy on a day-to-day basis become more expensive. That's what's known as inflation. It's unavoidable, and it affects everyone who spends money, which includes you. What this means is that over time, the money sitting in your bank account will become less valuable. Imagine you have $1,000 in your bank account. Now imagine everything that $1,000 could buy you right now. Now say we cryogenically freeze you and defrost you in 20 years time. When you wake up in 20 years, based on past data, that $1,000 will be able to buy you 40% less than what it could buy you today. The only way to prevent this from happening is to put your money in places where it has a chance to grow in value over time. Bank accounts offer little to no growth for our money, which is why it's smart to not keep all of your money in the bank. Despite this, it has become a societal norm for people to allow their money to fester and rot away in a bank account. Why? Because nobody is talking about this from a young age. Your parents have made this mistake, your teachers have made this mistake, and 99% of your friends are also going to make this mistake. Inflation doesn't care if you're young or old, and it will financially ruin you unless you do something about it. That brings us on nicely to lesson number 5. Start investing as soon as possible. When I was 18, my biggest problem with the idea of becoming money savvy and making money off my own bat was that it all seemed very unrealistic. I was aware of investing, but I never really took it seriously because I just couldn't imagine actually making enough money from it to make it worthwhile. Plus, I had no idea how to get started, so I just ignored it and didn't spend any time exploring it further. It wasn't until I was 24, 25, working at a professional level in the investment space that I realized that investing is actually the most surefire way for everyone to grow their money. The problem that you have at age 18 is that you've no one in your corner to encourage and guide you. So it's very difficult to know where to start, what to expect, and how to go about it in the right way. But you have to get started as soon as possible because you wouldn't believe just how good the results can be by starting as early as age 18. I can tell you now, there will come a time when you'll realize that you should have started investing sooner. For me, that realization came at age 24, but the longer it takes you to arrive at that realization, the more money it will cost you. And I'm talking about hundreds of thousands of dollars lost. Now that you know the 5 money lessons that I'd give to my 18-year-old self, you might be wondering what's next for you. I'll give you 2 options. If you haven't started investing yet but are looking to learn more about how to do it successfully, check out the video popping up on the left-hand side of the screen. If you have started investing and are wondering what the coming global recession could mean for you, check out the video popping up on the right-hand side of the screen. I'll see you soon.